wondered if there's something more behind Marge Simpson's raspy voice and towering blue beehive?
Are you sure about that?
Could the sweet, soft-spoken Marge actually have a bit of a criminal streak? Well, after rewatching all 773 episodes of The Simpsons, it turns out that beneath that blue hair lies a surprising rebel, one who's taken part in some supremely questionable acts. So how long would Marge be behind bars if the law ever caught up with her? Let's find out. Marge is first sent to prison for an honest mistake, but it's the rare time when the cops decide to do their job and make a scapegoat of any offender. In the chaotic episode of Marge in Chains, the residents of Springfield are down with a flu epidemic. Marge, exhausted from caring for her flu-ridden family, goes shopping at the Quickie Mart.
Mom, I need more OJ. Flintstones chewable morphine.
Oh, Miss Sheriff Lobo.
Mom, I need more OJ. Flintstones chewable morphine.
Oh, Miss Sheriff Lobo.
But this shopping turns into a criminal caper when she forgets to pay for Grandpa's bottle of bourbon.
Mrs. Simpson, you did not pay for this bottle of Colonel Quickie Mart's Kentucky bourbon.
Oh, I guess I didn't.
And boom! Marge gets surrounded by armed cops like she's holding a bag full of stolen nuclear codes. Suddenly, Marge's forgetfulness is now a criminal spectacle and word gets around pretty quick.
Don't tell anyone, but Marge Simpson was arrested for shoplifting.
Let the word go forth from this time and place. Marge Simpson is a shoplifter.
Thanks to the excellent defense of Lionel Hertz,
Do you know you're not wearing any pants?
What?
Marge's honest mistake is pardoned, yes?
Marge Simpson, I sentence you to 30 days in prison.
Oh. Now, 30 Days in the Clink, if you ask me, isn't really that bad. And I say so because in real life, shoplifting comes with a penalty of 6 months in jail and fines of up to $1,000. In the episode Springfield, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love Legalized Gambling, Marge gets completely hooked on gambling. How on earth did she end up here? Well, the town of Springfield was facing a serious economic recession. The mayor holds a meeting and asks for ideas on how to solve Springfield's money problems. Principal Skinner suggested legalizing gambling, and everyone is in support. The Reverend even adds,
Once something has been approved by the government, it's no longer immoral.
when the mayor asks if there's any objection, the citizens all look to Marge, Springfield's sweet, soft-spoken voice of reason. They all expect her to take the usual high moral ground here and state how bad of an idea this is, but surprisingly, she don't.
Actually, I think it might really help our economy.
This should have been the first sign that things would not bode well. Later that evening, Lisa asks Marge for help with her school project, and Homer uses the moment to announce that he's gotten a job as a blackjack card dealer at the newly opened casino. Marge then shows up with Maggie, but on her way out, she spots a quarter on the floor.
I wonder if they have a lost and found.
Of course, her first thought is to have it returned, but the flashy lights of the slot machine gives Marge another idea.
Oh, what the hey?
Okay, Marge, it sure looks like easy money, but maybe you should just go home. No, she returns to the casino, and soon she just can't stop playing. I mean, she gets so engrossed in it that she totally forgets all about Maggie. Like every baby without supervision, Maggie wanders off until she ends up almost getting eaten by a tiger. On the one hand, it's a good thing Barney was there to prevent Maggie from becoming a carnivore's dinner, but on the other hand, it's a crazy thing when Barney, of all people, has to be the one to caution Marge Simpson.
Whoa, Marge, you gotta watch out. Your little boy Bart could have been eaten by that pony.
Oh my God, Barney, thank you.
Does Marge do the sensible thing and go home here? Far from it. She puts Maggie right back down and continues the gambling. Homer closes from work and finds Marge still at the casino, hunched over a slot machine and grunting. He asks her to come home, but Marge is simply way too in deep now and wouldn't leave.
Okay, Marge, let's go.
I'll catch up to you.
Marge, I'm taking the car.
I'll walk.
This late through the bad neighborhood?
Yeah.
Marge.
Go home, you're bad luck.
Homer, of course, is a total mess trying to handle the house without Marge, so he goes to confront her.
Marge, we need to talk. You're spending too much time at the casino, and I think you may have a problem.
I won $60 last night.
Woohoo! Problem solved!
No, Homer, the problem is far from solved. Finally, Marge shows up at the house and finds the kids huddled behind a freaked out Homer with a gun pointed at her.
What happened here?
Oh, nothing, Marge. Just a little incident involving the boogeyman. Of course, none of this would have happened if you had been here to keep me from acting stupid.
Well, that's what you get when you leave Homer in charge of the house.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have been spending too much time at the casino. I'll be around more from now on.
Does this mean you'll help me with my costume?
Oh, sure, honey. I promise.
Thanks, Mom.
It's a good thing that it's all over now and the family's back together, right?
Dad, Mom said she'd be home to help me with my costume, and she's not, and the geography pageant is tonight.
Lisa, your mom still loves you. It's just that she has a career now. She's a slot jockey.
Yeah, she's back at it. Negligence, especially as a parent, attracts stiff penalties. For neglecting her children and endangering Maggie's safety, Marge is looking at paying a fine of $10,000 and facing 2 years imprisonment. But let's hope she's made enough money from the slots to cover that. Moving on to the iconic episode, Marge on the Lam. Marge ditches her squeaky clean image and gets involved in a high-speed chase. The story begins with Homer, as usual, in a sticky situation. Literally, he's jammed his arm inside a vending machine at work and just can't get it out.
Must get to ballet. Thomas, Marge.
No, he's not gonna make it. In fact, he gets stuck in a second vending machine. Marge isn't very happy about getting stood up for their date, but Ruth Powers shows up to return a tool she borrowed earlier from Marge.
Well, see ya.
Hey, wait!
And she saves the day, or the night. The two ladies later bond some more at a coffee shop.
If you ever met my ex-husband, you'd understand. All he ever did was eat, sleep, and drink beer.
Your point being?
And to top it off, he's been stiffing me on child support for the last 4 months.
It's basically a girl's night out. Marge is thrilled with her new friend, and they both begin spending a lot more time together. Homer doesn't take this new arrangement very well, though.
So I think you're spending entirely too much time with this woman. Where are you going?
I don't know.
When will you be home?
I'm not sure.
Where are you going?
You already asked me that.
But Marge is out having the night of her life with Ruth. The same can't be said for Homer. The poor dude doesn't have anyone to hang out with.
It's just no fun without Marge.
Chief Wiggum shows up and offers him a ride home, but things escalate. They run into Ruth and Marge and attempt to pull them over because they have a busted taillight.
I think they want us to stop.
Bet chance. This car's stolen.
Stolen?
Looks like we got ourselves an old-fashioned car chase.
Okay, a high-speed pursuit is a good enough time for the full truth to come out, wouldn't you say?
Remember when I said my ex-husband was behind on his child support?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, to even things up, I kind of stole his car.
Well, didn't you realize all you had to do was report him to the police?
Obviously, Marge is not cut out for a life of crime, so Ruth does the sensible thing and drops her off at a cafe.
Look, Marge, there's no reason for you to get dragged into this. Once we lose the cops, I'll let you out. You're a good friend, Marge.
Hey, turns out you had fun after all. Now, this is your chance to walk away from all this and go back home to your family and live a peaceful life. But no!
Marge, what are you doing?
Ruth, I've done a lot of thinking, and I really consider you a friend. And an important part of friendship is...
At this point, there's no justification for Marge anymore. Whatever plausible deniability she may have had is gone. Woof! Right out the window. By deciding to stick with Ruth knowing she's about to break more laws, Marge crosses from innocent bystander to accomplice just like that. And that's just a classic case of aiding and abetting. The rest of the chase goes as chaotic as is expected in a Simpsons episode.
Oh, no! They're headed right for the Grand Chasm!
Oh my God! They're gonna drive right into it just to teach us men a lesson! And it's all my fault!
They end up not driving into the chasm and surrender. Ruth gets her charges dropped, and Marge simply pays several cents for a few antique cans she destroyed. But the charges would be a lot more serious in the real world. Marge would be facing up to 10 years imprisonment and $10,000 in fines for aiding and abetting in a theft and being involved in the high-speed chase. In the episode Large Marge, things in Springfield get, well, larger than life when Marge ends up sporting some Marilyn Monroe-level curves. And neither she nor Springfield know how to handle this humongous development. It all begins when a couple of single women take an interest in Homer for some reason.
I'm Lindsay Nagel, and I don't want to spend another fiscal year alone.
Cookie Kwan, realtor. #1 on the west side. I could move you into a beautiful new home.
Marge sees this, and a bit of jealousy stabs at her right in the shin.
Are you as attracted to me as you were when we met?
Sure, why not?
Sometimes I worry you might think about other women.
The jealousy grows into insecurity.
Remember when Apu cheated on you?
Yes, thank you.
I'm worried Homer might do the same thing. What would make a husband lose interest like that?
Well, when you go asking questions like that, you're gonna get an answer you don't love.
Look at this flab. Look at it.
Oh my God, is that me?
So Marge opts to go for a liposuction surgery. 6 hours and one wrong procedure later, it turns out she got herself a boob job instead. And they are, what's the word I'm looking for?
You had no right to make my bosom this ample.
Ample, indeed. Now, Marge's newfounded assets start causing all sorts of problems, like... And when Homer finds out, well...
What's this? It's enormous! Oh my God, there's another one!
Homer, let me explain something.
Explain later.
Homer, ever the supportive husband, decides to flaunt Marge's new figure at Luigi's restaurant, and soon every guy in Springfield is oogling Marge. At first, she's loving the attention. She even gets scouted for a modeling gig.
Rookie spokesmodel, Marge Simpson.
But it does not take long before things go south. At the Springfield Shoe Expo, Marge's blessing becomes a curse as men leer at her, pinch her, generally treat her like an object.
I like the way your body looks.
Stop objectifying my mom.
I will in a second.
Whoa, hey, baby, you're an object.
Yikes. Things escalate when the B-plot gets involved and a hungry pet elephant threatens the lives of her whole family.
Dad, look!
I'm on it.
Be careful. Uh-oh.
All right.
The cops are about to fire at the elephant, totally ignoring Marge's pleas about how her family is at risk if they do. And so Marge, desperate to save her family, pulls off an insane move.
Hey, cops! Check out this all-points bulletin.
The police are so distracted by Marge's assets that they forget about the elephant crisis. Marge's little stunt would attract some legal repercussions, though. Public exposure, especially in a situation like this, could lead to an indecent exposure charge. She'd be facing 2 years imprisonment and a fine of $1,000 for that. In Break My Wife, Please, Marge, usually the rock of the family and queen of patience, finally hits her breaking point. Something snaps and Springfield's beloved mom shows a side no one expected. Least of all Homer, who definitely did not see that coming when she ran him over. Well, Marge, as usual, isn't really to be blamed for this one after Homer's driver's license is revoked.
Mr. Simpson, give me your license.
Okay, I guess that was more than revoked. Marge decides to do what a good wife does and pick up the slack after her husband.
I guess I'll have to do all your driving chores. That's what a good wife does, picks up the slack.
So now Marge isn't the only new designated driver. She's picking up Homer's dry cleaning and shuttling his buddies around Springfield.
Thanks for picking my friends up from the strip club, Marge.
Can we stop for ice cream?
Homer always stops for ice cream.
This unpaid chauffeuring duty does not sit well with Marge. The more she drives, the more stressed she gets. But Homer, who's taken up walking as a new hobby, is apparently enjoying himself.
Morning, Homer. Looking good.
Yeah, walking's made a new man out of you.
That, though, quickly comes to a quick end.
I love you. My feet are inside me.
Homer ends up in the hospital with a broken pelvis, which means no more joy walks. This is negligent driving on Marge's part, but can I really blame her?
How was your crushed pelvis?
Pretty good. Thanks for asking.
I don't know what happened. I saw you, and I went for the brake, but I hit the accelerator.
Yes, I very much can. Now, Homer's completely relying on Marge to do everything for him, and she handles it pretty well.
Too hot, too hot.
I'm sorry.
Hot, warm, tepid.
Not long after, Homer returns home, fully recovered. But Marge, well, she's still displeased and harboring pent-up frustrations, and Homer flaunting his pelvis does not make things any better.
Gee, everything always works out for you.
Finally, Homer suspects that Marge might not be accidentally hurting him.
Marge, you're trying to hurt me.
Took you long enough, Baldy. Marge tries to deny it, but only ends up not doing that.
That's ridiculous. I don't like you. I mean, hate you. I hate you.
It's pretty clear at this point they both need to see a marriage counselor. But in the court of law, Marge's actions would fetch her some fines and jail time for sure. Regardless of how stressed out she was, she's looking at $2,200 in fines and 9 months imprisonment. The episode All's Fair in Oven War would count as one of Marge's most mischievous moments in the show. Marge, the blue-haired beacon of morality, goes rogue in the kitchen. It all starts when Marge and Homer attend an open house when the house next door is put up for sale. Marge is immediately taken aback by how big and modern the kitchen is.
It's so beautiful and modern.
Compared to hers that's falling apart. Anyone would want a taste of that luxury after seeing a kitchen like that, even Marge.
But seeing that kitchen today made me wish we had something a little better for ourselves.
Homer agrees to give his wife a new kitchen and sets to work, demolishing it. 2 electrocutions later, and they call a contractor, and the renovation is done after 2 years.
What's the first thing you're gonna make in your new kitchen?
How about cooking up some money because this stupid kitchen cost $100,000?
Her first meal from the sparkling new kitchen becomes an instant crowd favorite. The kitchen, or the cook who deserves the credit.
And how about a huzzah for my husband who paid for our new kitchen?
Never!
Sorry, Homer. The dishes that come out of Marge's new kitchen kept getting stellar reviews, so she enters a bake-off ready to wow everyone with her delicious homemade recipes. But as she gets to know the other contestants, she realizes something. Her fellow bakers aren't exactly playing fair, and they are not subtle about it.
Stop! You're tainting my entry.
Oh, I'm so sorry. It was, done with a malice aforethought. Yes?
You did it on purpose? Why can't everyone just play fair? And did you just dunk your hair in my mixing bowl? You're weak! Weak!
Marge is horrified and shaking to her core. After all, she's pouring her heart and soul into her recipes only to have it sabotaged.
My dessert!
In retaliation, Marge decides to level the playing field by sneaking a little something into her rival's dishes. You know, giving them a taste of their own medicine.
Yes, medicine. Baby ear medicine.
Uh-oh, Margie didn't just... Oh, yeah, she did.
Don't worry. There's plenty for all of you. Now who's laughing? Huh? Me.
Soiking their dishes with medicine that'll make the judge vomit is one surefire way to get sploinked in the finals. But turns out that Lisa has seen Marge's dubious act through the keyhole and is very disappointed.
Sweetie, is Mom winning?
Oh, she'll win the contest, but she'll lose her soul.
But you'll still win the contest?
To, save her mother's soul, Lisa confronts her in the kitchen, and I'd say Marge makes a pretty good defense.
Well, it's not my fault. Lisa, the people in this bake-off are stinkers who pushed me like the pushy-wushies they are.
But Lisa doesn't relent in trying to win her mom over to the good side.
I look up to you because you let me down. That's clever and devastating.
Marge decides to be a good role model to her daughter and admits to her foul play. She loses the competition, but hey, Lisa's faith in her mother's restored, so that's a win. However, if Marge's little baking stunt happened in the real world, yes, the contestants deserved it, but she'd still be in serious trouble along with them. Food tampering is no joke, and Marge could face up to 10 years imprisonment just for using ear medicine to tamper with people's food and a fine of $25,000. In strong arms of the maw, things spiral out of control and Marge totally loses the plot. Returning back from a garage sale, Marge makes a quick stop at the Quickie Mart's bathroom to change Maggie's diapers. But on coming out of the mall, she's mugged at gunpoint.
Give me your purse.
I'm gone.
Shut up.
The robber yanks off her pearls and flees, leaving Marge dazed, reeling in shock at what just happened. Honestly, this is just sad to watch.
Just take this.
Come on, Mom, let's go. Mom, are you okay?
And seeing how different Marge looked without her necklace.
Look, this really made me feel vulnerable. I want to know how soon you think you'll catch this guy.
It was just as heavy as her walking back to the car and breaking down into tears. After this traumatic experience, Marge develops agoraphobia. The idea of even leaving the house fills her with so much dread, she basically confines herself to the basement.
Marge?
I'm gonna sleep down here tonight.
This is after Homer and the kids have tried their best in being supportive and encouraging her to go outside, but it's no use. Bored out of her mind in the basement, she spots the workout equipment that Homer had gotten at the garage sale and starts working out. This goes on for 2 weeks, and it's surprisingly effective. Like what she did, I need to do, because she's all toned up with abs. The kids and Homer cannot hide their excitement.
Mom?
I'm married to Joey Heatherton.
And soon enough, Marge is no longer afraid of stepping out of the house. In jubilation, she runs through town announcing her freedom from fear.
I'm not afraid! I'm not afraid!
I get why this means so much to her, and it's going great until...
You?
Yeah, that's the man who robbed her. And what she does next, well, I actually kind of endorse it. I mean, no, I would never endorse a crime because that's what that is. It's crime, it's still a crime. The laws exist for a reason, Marge, how dare you. Okay, so after taking her revenge on the robber, which is still aggravated assault, things should be returning to normal. I mean, you're strong and confident now, Marge. Maybe it's time to dial down on the workout obsession now? No! She starts taking steroids, doubling down, and soon enough, she's hulking out. With great muscles come great marital strain. And so Marge goes from lifting buses with her bare hands to unfortunate stuff like this.
Do it.
Listen, my bulky flower, I have an early date
I
tomorrow.
wasn't asking.
And it actually gets worse. After taking second place at the Iron Maiden competition, Marge heads over to Moe's Tavern and just sulks. She's enraged at coming in second and takes out her anger on Moe.
Death will stop your yammering. Huh?
Marge, easy.
And then on everybody in the bar. Just look at all that carnage. I may have overlooked her beating up her mugger, but I'm not turning the other eye on this one. Marge is going to face 20 years in prison and a steep fine of $20,000. So far, things are looking pretty grim for Mrs. Simpson. I mean, she's currently looking at spending 45 years and 3 months in prison, and her fines have already stacked up to $69,200. There's no sugarcoating it. Marge is in some serious hot water so far, and we're only halfway through. We're about to get into some deep, dirty acts and make you wonder if her moral compass is a lot more flexible than we thought. In the episode The Last of the Red Hat Mamas, Marge descends into crime, all in the name of friendship. Well, that wouldn't be her first time. Except that this time around, she ends up involved in an elaborate plot of breaking and entering. So it's Easter in Springfield, and Mayor Quimby's mansion is crawling with kids, eggs, and naturally, Homer's antics. Little Maggie gets left out of the egg hunt, so Homer decides to help by grabbing eggs from other kids. When he gets caught, he ends up in an all-out brawl with the Easter Bunny.
So you want to set the baby down? Don't worry, I just want to talk.
Silly wabbit! Kicks are for ribs!
Marge is still enjoying a tour of the mayor's mansion and is getting used to all the glam and dazzle until...
But I'd love it if you'd all join me for tea in the parlor.
Tea? In the parlor?
Fucking not this man-child again. As a result of Homer's behavior, Marge's new friends kick her out of their social circle.
Homer, please. We're about to have tea.
No tea. Security!
If sabotaging Marge's chances of making new friends was a crime, Homer sure is guilty on multiple counts. Marge uses snuggle time to let Homer know how she feels.
I'm still upset about what happened today. I don't have many friends, and when I finally start to make some, you ruin it.
But Marge's luck turns when she meets the Cheery Red Tomatoes, a lively women's group led by Tammy, and she gets an invite to join said group.
Would you like to join us?
Would I? Now let's see.
Now part of this group, Marge bonds with a newfound circle, and for the first time, Marge feels like she belongs.
Oh, you guys make everything fun. I feel a happiness I've never felt. I not only have friends, I have a hat to prove it.
And the bond lasts right up until the group reveals their plan for the year.
This year, we're gonna steal $1 million from Mr. Burns.
Their logic? Burns once promised the cash for charity, but kept it for himself to extend his life by 10 minutes. And of course, they need Marge's help in breaking into Mr. Burns' mansion to execute their plan. Poor Marge only wanted to make friends, but now she's faced with red hat criminals.
When I joined, I never thought we'd be robbing people.
You said you wanted friends, and the one thing about friends is that they stick together.
Marge finally caves to the pressure and agrees to help with the robbery, though. The red hat mamas sneak their way into Burns' estate, and Marge learns exactly what her role is.
You're the only one of us skinny enough to squeeze through this vent.
That's my special skill?
Well, what'd you think? You're a master of disguise?
She unlocks the gate and the ladies break into the mansion. In no time, they find the safe and crack it open, ready to start hauling out priceless Fabergé eggs. Until the police get there. Marge, I know you just wanted to make friends, but you are in some serious legal trouble now. By sneaking out of the property, she's guilty of trespassing and breaking and entering. And the souvenirs they're grabbing? That's straight up burglary and theft. She'd be facing a total of 20 years imprisonment for that. And seeing that those eggs cost a fortune, Marge would be looking at paying a pretty penny of $250,000. Or at least up to that, but it would probably be the whole amount. In the episode We're on the Road to Delaware, Marge kinda goes from a loving homemaker to a pill pusher. Marge and Lisa decided to have a yard sale, hoping to make some cash as the boys are gone, bonding.
Well, maybe pulling pranks is the only thing I'm good at.
At least you have something you're good at. I'm 38 years old driving a crappy car with a son who doesn't respect me, and I'm one Snickers pie away from losing my foot to diabetes.
The yard sale turns out to be a total flop. Nobody's interested in buying their old junk.
We've only brought in $5, and that came from Mr. Flanders buying back his own stuff.
Even the Salvation Army don't want it.
I guess I'll have to give everything to the Salvation Army.
We don't want it.
Marge is disappointed and about to give up until Otto shows up. He looks through the boxes containing the family's old meds, and the no-gooder realizes what they've got.
$1?
Per pill, right?
Yeah.
I'll take a dozen of each. Oh, wow! Drugs in a bottle. I feel like Elvis Presley.
And soon, Marge realizes that expired pills are what's in high demand now. So the yard sale turns into a drug fair, just like that. She's basically selling expired painkillers and old prescriptions, and the cash is just flowing on in.
Oh, this is so much safer than buying my illegal drugs at the playground.
Marge's operation doesn't exactly stay under the radar for long. Chief Wiggum catches wind of her new hustle and sets up a sting.
Well, maybe someone else can help you, but I am not a drug grocer. Oh, I'm out of drugs. See how much money I made? Chief Wiggum.
And so Marge's one-time stint has her in cuffs and carted off to jail.
Homer, I hope you get this. I'm in jail and I need $10,000 bail.
Well, Homer had his own troubles in this episode. In real life, Marge would be facing big-time charges for selling expired prescription drugs. Other than the money for bail, she'd be fined over $20,000 and looking at around 5 years in jail. When the cops pull up at the Simpsons' front door like this, you'd think they're busting a meth lab or something. Nope, they're just here to arrest Marge. Now, what could she have possibly done to warrant all that firepower at her front door? Let's rewind a bit. Homer's delayed at work and Marge has had just enough with taking care of the kids. From Lisa needing help with another ridiculous dress for another school project to Maggie being a diabolically frustrating toddler, she makes a mess and Sweet Bartholomew wanting to help ends up making a larger mess. Marge cannot deal anymore.
Oh, just go play outside.
Bart heads to the park on his own, but the laws of Springfield have actually apparently changed. It's unlawful for kids to play at the park unsupervised. And with that, the cops pull up and whisk Marge away for child negligence. Okay, I know I'd included child neglect earlier in Marge's crimes, but that time she did really deserve it. But letting Bart roam free at a playground has to be one of the most innocent parental neglects like I've ever heard of. It shouldn't have her end up being sent to the slammer.
Mrs. Simpson, 90 days.
The court does not agree with me, but then comes the twist. Marge settles fully well into prison.
Anybody else want a taste of blue thunder?
And then she actually starts enjoying prison.
Exercise time!
Ooh, I never have time to exercise. Is this a prison or a spa? Really? 8 o'clock? I get to go to bed. I don't have to clean a sink full of dishes or write a paragraph with topic sentence for Homer.
It's like a mom's dream come true. What's even crazier is that when even Homer manages to hire a lawyer who finds a means to get Marge released.
Oh, and just in time. Bart's claiming he's in another dimension, but I think he's just hiding in the closet.
Springfield's most responsible mom decides she ain't ready to go back to being a housewife, so she finds a way to ensure that she's not leaving the prison walls so soon.
I was promised 90 days. Now you have to give me more time.
Sorry, Homer, a mother needs a break sometimes, I guess. Soon, Marge starts missing her family, and she somehow incites a prison riot.
I didn't realize how much I needed a break, but maybe not a prison break.
Prison break! Prison break! Yeah!
Well, the chaos gets more insane. She finds Homer, who's devised a genius idea to rescue his wife.
What are you doing here?
I had to do whatever it takes to get you to leave, so I dressed up as a prison guard.
Ah, yes, Homer's plan is to break Marge out of prison. And guess what? He succeeds! Marge is finally ready to go home, and they both walk out under blue skies and rainbows. Well, this Bonnie and Clyde move is all sweet and all, in the real world, all wouldn't be so easily forgiven. First, inciting a riot and then escaping from unlawful custody attracts a serious charge. Marge will face an extra 5 years behind bars for that. In It's a Mad, 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 Mad Marge, Springfield's favorite blue-haired mob snaps once again. Are you noticing a trend? But in the most chaotic way. What starts as a bit of jealousy quickly spirals into something much darker. It begins when Marge decides to be the compassionate good Samaritan that she is and lets Becky stay with them. This is after Becky's wedding disaster where she's jilted by Otto, but it's also kind of Marge's fault.
Otto's just going to have to decide what's more important, his heavy metal or you.
So Becky stays with the Simpsons for a while, and like every house guest should, she tries to make herself useful.
Yummers.
Nobody's ever called my gravy yummers before.
You know, it'd be really nuts. A little rosemary.
But very quickly, Marge soon comes to the question of having Becky as a guest, as the family grows to really, really like the new girl.
Isn't it wonderful to have a hip female influence in the house?
Yes. Well, I guess I'll go roll socks. It's not hip, but it has to be done.
Actually, you could just tie them at the ends. That way the elastic doesn't wear out.
Yes, I hate when things get worn out.
Very subtle, Marge. Paranoia begins to set in, and talking to her sisters about it sure doesn't help.
Look, honey, never let an attractive woman into your house. All they ever do is usurp your family and then kill you.
They only get Marge's imagination running wild, picturing Becky as the villain trying to steal her family away, but apparently that's not all she'd do.
She's going to seduce your husband. Becky's going to seduce Homer? It's an act of violence, not love.
Her paranoia hits an all-time high while she's driving to the grocery store one day. Her brakes fail and she's nearly killed, so she goes to the police.
How do I know you didn't cut your own brakes?
Why would I do that?
I don't know. Get some attention from a handsome police officer?
That's crazy.
But Chief Wiggums is just as helpful as he always is.
The law is powerless to help you.
Do I have to be dead before you'll help me?
Well, not dead, dying. No, don't walk away.
While Marge is dealing with all this, Becky and the rest of the family meet at an ice cream parlor. There, Becky announces, much to everyone's disappointment, that she's found an apartment to live in. To cheer up the mood, she buys a gigantic ice cream sundae.
And God said, gather ye two of every flavor. Anoint them with 62 sauces, whipped cream and nuts. And ye shall call it the Ark.
The Ark? Really? Must be a storm coming. Homer being Homer dunks his face into the ice cream and is knocked out cold. But things get a lot crazier when Marge walks in just as Becky is giving Homer mouth-to-mouth resuscitation.
Usurper! Usurper! Usurper!
Oh yeah, I think I found the storm! Marge in a full-on jealous frenzy tries to protect her family and reaches for a weapon.
Shut up, Becky!
A giant ice cream cone. I mean, talk about revenge best served cold. Marge just committed a crime. Big shocker. And that crime is attempted murder. For this, she would be facing 20 years in the slammer and a fine of $10,000. In the episode The Departed, Marge again is guilty of negligent driving, but it goes much further than that this time. The episode kicks off with Marge driving Bart and Lisa to school in Homer's beloved very pink car. But of course, the two siblings are at it again in the back seat.
Oh, Mom, Lisa hit me. I did not.
Kids, knock it off. I'm uncomfortable driving your father's car as it is. What the?
Marge, clearly at her wit's end, is trying to keep it together, but her patience is quickly running thin. With Bart and Lisa fighting like cats and dogs, she just can't keep up with moderating their endless bickering, and wham! What's expected to happen happens. She slams into Hans Moleman's car, but this is where things get real ugly. Marge's crash triggers the airbag, and rather than deflating, it goes full-on smother mode. So it wasn't intentional, as it's usually the case with Marge's crimes, but this oopsie moment would have serious consequences. She'd be looking at involuntary manslaughter charges, and unintentional killing due to reckless driving. So yeah, a tragic series of events, but Marge would find herself facing 8 years in prison and paying a fine of 250 grand. I'm sure Hans will magically reappear in another episode anyway. Even though this is a Treehouse of Horror episode, there's no way I wouldn't throw in the episode of Marge's rap sheet. Here we get to see Homer and Marge go full-on Mr. and Mrs. Smith, only with way more crossbows and miniguns. The episode starts with Homer and Marge at marriage counseling, but plot twist, this ain't no normal therapy session. Turns out they've both been living double lives as assassins. Homer, in true secret agent fashion, locks himself in the bathroom to receive his latest job from Mr. Burns.
Greetings, 241.
His target is Kent Brockman, and just like that, Homer is getting ready to off the news anchor at a rooftop party. But while he's at it, someone shows up at Brockman's party in disguise and wham! Takes him out first.
Hey!
An infuriated Homer, mad over losing his pay, goes on a firing spree.
Hey, baby.
Well, he misses one of his shots and ends up killing a civilian. Okay, no one drink the red wine. Homer finally succeeds in shooting off the assassin's wig to reveal the big secret.
Marge is a professional assassin.
They confront each other at home, and then the real fun begins. Homer and Marge start throwing grenades, rifles, and of course they whip out the minigun. It's the classic I'm mad at you for keeping a secret from me, but also let's murder each other kind of fight. They even end up accidentally killing Grandpa. And then there's Chief Wiggum, who enters the wreckage after receiving an anonymous complaint about the fight. Marge just snaps and shoots him with a crossbow, and we get to hear his last words.
I would have taken a bribe.
That should definitely get on his gravestone. Homer and Marge realize they're more attracted to each other than ever.
I love watching you do other guys.
I'd like to see you do a guy sometime.
You know, nothing gets the love juices flowing like a good old murder sesh. And just when you think it couldn't get more insane, it turns out they were never talking to a marriage counselor, but to Principal Skinner.
That's terrific, but I called you here to discuss your son's misbehavior on the school bus.
Real killer couple goals, I guess. This, of course, looks all badass and some blockbuster type stuff, but in reality, there's a long list of charges for Marge here. She assassinated Kent Brockman and then took out Gramps, Chief Wiggums, and Principal Skinner. Marge would be facing a total of 120 years in prison and $250,000 in fines. And after all of that, Marge, in total, is racking up a staggering $849,200 in fines and could be looking at a 23-year stay in Springfield's not-so-cozy jail. But hey, if you thought this was wild even for Marge, just wait till you see this other notorious and devious lawbreaker. Click on the next video and brace yourself.